Chapter 3. Do you want to be right or rich? The purpose of this chapter is to state plain and simply, I believe anyone can be rich as long as they're willing to be wrong over and over again. What I mean simply is this. I believe that geographically by country to country, a state of being rich, including financial wealth, is available for all citizens of all nations. Some would argue it's roughly, you know, having enough money 3 to 5 times, 3 to 7 times, something like that, the mean average annual income of that country. And then you are suddenly rich. I think that's the right way to phrase it. Maybe it's not. But anyone can be rich. I believe that anyone and everyone can be rich if they're willing to be wrong. But the propensity to want to convince myself that I'm right, and I've seen this in so many of my friends, that looking at their life, I could tell them what to do to grow their business faster, to do this, to that. It was always obvious to me what they should do. It's funny in life how that is, right? Because I wasn't the one that was anchored to their excuses, anchored to their truths, anchored to the things that were holding them back. It was always obvious for me to see in someone else, just like I'm sure it was obvious for others to see in me. So I wholeheartedly believe that anyone can be rich as long as they're willing to be wrong over and over. I feel like that's what has stopped me from being rich to this point. I look at the different opportunities I've had, and when I was in my 20s, it was what held me back was laziness. And work always felt to me like it was my dad. My dad would never let me sleep in ever. He believed it was being lazy. And so I never got to enjoy sleep ins on weekends. He would just come into my room and tell me, it's 8 o'clock, slept in enough, get up. And it's like, okay. And my father would give me chores, and he was not a very emotional and emotionally connected man. He was raised by a Scot and a Brit, his parents, my grandparents, and they were of a certain mindset. And so my father, being not very relational, not very emotional, I was his oldest son, and I challenged everything, which pissed him off, and I questioned everything, which pissed him off. And so I wanted to be defiant, which pissed him off because I was like, that's not good enough for me. I'm not doing this stupid stuff. So that's how I was formed in my youth. That's some of the context. And then from there, when I got into my 20s, I took that same mindset and overlaid that on every situation. Every time someone told me what I should do, instead of leaning in and seeing the opportunity, why is it only so clear now? Fuck. I would seriously see my father through the opportunity and through that person. I'd be like, I'm not doing that. You're trying to change me. Because that's what I felt growing up. Just felt like my dad was trying to change me. And he was. Probably thought I'd be better. I'd be more what he wanted or be more successful if I complied. He was always wanting me to comply, complaining, you're not complying. I was like, I don't fucking want to comply because I was fixated that was a pain point. Like, you're trying to get me to come out of my natural state, and I wanted to be myself. See, I wanted to be right more than I wanted to be rich. I wanted to be right. My dad wanted me to comply, and I wanted to be right. And damn it, I see it so clearly now. I look back at different business opportunities and different company things I did. And so often, whenever there was trouble, what it came down to is I wanted it my way. I wanted it my way. And I didn't want to have to change, and I didn't want to have to comply. I didn't want to have to do what anyone else wanted me to do. And I see it across the board with everyone I know that's ever, and I'm just going to speak specifically right now about money. but struggled with wealth creation or getting rich, or they've always either struggled or been below the line, or they've never really broken free. Every person I've ever known, the reason is because they fucking wanted to be right instead of wanting to be rich. They wanted to be rich less than they wanted to be right. They wanted to be right first. Like me, I wanted to be right. I wanted to be rich, but only if it didn't cost me being right. And that's the premise of this book. Anyone can be fucking rich. As long as I'm as long as I'm willing to be wrong and willing to be shown that I've been wrong about key things in my life, which I've been seeing a lot lately, and I'm sure there's more coming. And as long as I'll allow that change to occur and adopt the success principles I've been in denial about, of course I'll be rich. It's just mathematics. And I don't know why it took me to 50 years old to get here to realize it's so fucking simple. Just like you want to get in shape. There's only a few things you got to do. Calories in, calories out. Get your hormones checked. Make sure those are balanced. Get out of a state of always being cortisol laden and move your body. Like it's not hard. I've never struggled in that area of my life really, but I've seen people who have, and there was always an excuse that they didn't want to go to the gym. You really dial in, you find out, well, they secretly want to be able to eat whenever they want, or they want to be able to think thoughts that cause stressful chemicals and not change their thought life, or not get their hormones in balance, or not really start doing resistance training. There's always an excuse. And I think that's fucking secret sauce of this whole thing is, do you want to be right or do you want to be rich? You could also insert, do you want to be right or do you want to be healthy? Do you want to be right or do you want to have peace of mind? Because that's what everything is predicated upon. I had such a defiance to anything coming external and changing me out of this great insecurity and fear of not being enough and not being loved and not being unique and not being who I was, that I pushed away the principles that were trying to be plainly taught to me by life itself. It wasn't even by one person. It was just by life going, Amos, here's truth. Here's more truth. And I rejected it. So this entire book comes down to that one thing. Anyone can be rich as long as they're willing to give up being right. And at least in the beginning, be shown all the ways that they've been wrong. Anyone can be rich. And now I'm about to go and prove it.